Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Tuesday Talks with Ashley Hannah and Angelo Datseris, your local real estate experts serving the Charlotte metro area. Today we are going to talk about what jobs require permits and why you should care, and just helpful information on where you can find like for your specific county. What jobs require permits. Hang on, here's Angelo. Hey,
What up?
how are you?
What's going on? I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I was just brushing up on the permitting info for Mecklenburg County. Per our
Conversation last week. Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes. How's it going with you?
It's going. Just kind of getting the finishing touches done of the office. So you see, I got this now in my background for my office. So it's getting there, slowly but surely. It's getting there.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Work in progress.
So let's talk about permits.
Yeah, so the North Carolina Real Estate Commission last month sent out a publication indicating that it was to serve as a reminder, but also a warning, because that usually when they put something in their monthly update, that means that they're getting a lot of complaints about it or people are asking questions about it. So.
Okay.
It's about permitting, and I think that this is because this is even kind of taboo to me, and something that prior to being in real estate I didn't really even think about. But almost anything you do to your house, you need to check both the county and the local municipality requirements for what needs a permit. And why is this important? Because it's going to affect your insurance. It's going to affect your taxable, I guess, property taxes.
Right.
It's going to affect resale, because if permits weren't pulled or things weren't done by licensed professionals, then a lot of times insurance won't even cover it. So good luck trying to sell a house that can't be insured.
Right. Yeah. No. And then that's big when it comes to financing too, because of we can get into that after we talk about this other stuff. But there's financing not loopholes, but legalities that come into play with that for an unpermitted addition. So yeah.
Yeah, I pulled up Mecklenburg County, the Mecklenburg County, what you need to do for a permit for residential work, what you need to know before beginning a project. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because in this blurb that I found online, it also mentions lending requirements. So just to go through some of this. So as a general rule of thumb, any construction, repair, installation, replacement on a property or a structure that costs more than $15,000 is going to need a permit, or a building
Wow.
permit. Yeah, $15,000. See, for some reason, I don't know why I thought the threshold was $30,000. I was reading something about a pool contractor in Gaston County that was quoting work. This is recent. That was quoting work just below $30,000, so that he didn't have to get the building permits, I guess. But then he would rebill, right? He adjust those estimates as the job went on, but he thought that he was in compliance because the initial quote was under $30,000. But this is from Mecklenburg County, and so it's saying $15,000 is the threshold.
So it doesn't matter. So this is interesting. So it doesn't matter what you do to the property. It's based on a dollar amount, not like an actual like if it's a structure or if a load bearing wall or whatever. So it's on a dollar amount. Yeah, I did not know that.
Here's what it says. Before you start a home renovation project, whether it's a new kitchen, an updated family room, or new sunroom, check to see if you need a building permit. Generally, a building permit is required for any construction, installation, repair, replacement, or alteration costing more than $15,000.
Okay.
And then it says a permit is also required no matter what the cost. If the work involves addition, repair, or replacement of load-bearing members or structures, the addition of plumbing, heating, air conditioner, electrical wiring, devices, appliances, or equipment. So you have two different things here. It says there's a building permit and just a permit.
And so, okay, so so it is different when you're doing it. So does the building permit and the permit or is there different like price points with those, or just you need a building a permit period if it's a certain dollar amount?
So a building permit is needed if whatever you're doing costs more than $15,000. A permit is needed
regardless.
Right.
Got it.
And then a permit is required for those things I just mentioned. And then it says, so then it gives some examples of work requiring a permit. So this is, I think, helpful in clarifying. So it says, here's some examples of things that require a permit: decks, carports, and garages of any size, backyard storage buildings exceeding 12 feet in any dimension, room additions, finishing and unfinished attic space. That's one I see a lot. I see that a lot in homes where people are like, well, the builder essentially put all the bones, they rough finished it. We just sheetrocked it and, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I understand, but like, so they're saying that requires a permit. And then they say relocating or installing new light fixtures that add to the electrical system. So like in our personal home, we installed new pendants in the kitchen, but we weren't adding any wiring there. Like we weren't adding to like more electrical power. I'm not an electrician.
The electrical, you weren't adding to the electrical.
Yes.
Right.
So like we didn't get a permit and it's not needed. But if we were to put a light maybe that is stronger, that requires more power, you need a permit. It says replacing and reconnecting furnaces. So if you're doing any work, if your furnace goes out, you better make sure that whoever you get to replace that furnace has gotten a permit.
Really? To replace a furnace, you need a permit? I had no idea. And this is the first time hearing of this. I mean, of course, we don't do this day in and day out, so maybe we wouldn't, but I've never known anybody to get a permit to replace a furnace. That's crazy.
And, so I pulled this today, right? I pulled this today from the Mecklenburg County Code Enforcement website. Now, I don't know how often these get updated, but I think part of like the things that I check on quarterly is I'm going to add permitting sites and like just brush up on my permitting, I guess, requirements. Yeah. Because I don't know how often they get changed, but I didn't know that either, Angelo. It also
you know what? That's a great question, Ashley. How frequently do they update codes for buildings? That's a good one, because then if it's at once a year, every other year, then you kind of put a little calendar reminder in your in your Outlook or whatever. Like, look at the new codes that come out. You know what I'm saying? That's interesting. It'd be good to know when.
So I know that and I know this because I attend a lot of the town council meetings for McAdenville. And they just went through a like code, I guess, restructuring, like brush up, like amendments to bring everything up to date or make any changes that were outdated. So I think
Right.
it doesn't happen often. And once you start looking and you get into a rhythm of checking on it, you'll probably realize either it gets changed every 5 years, it never gets changed, or, you know, you'll figure
Right.
out the cadence.
Right.
So some other things that require a permit is adding to or modifying the heating and air conditioning system.
I don't know, and I don't know anybody that has replaced an AC unit or a furnace and has gotten a permit to do so. Is that what I'm understanding? Did you need a permit to change or modify the HVAC system?
Yes.
Wow.
Like, I know, I don't know what this means now that we're talking about it, right? Like, I think we just need to be way more cognizant. And I think if we can start here where if we can just use information, like education is power, like knowledge is power. So like,
Yeah,
here we
for
go.
sure.
Let's start with like,
Right.
we knew nothing and now here we are. So
I wonder if, like, let's say an HVAC company needs a new. Do they just kind of automatically do that because it's in the process because that's just what they do and we just don't know about it, or because it's usually a legit company that's we're getting the HVAC replaced through if it's a problem. But that's things that we need to double check, I guess.
you need to be asking your vendors this question. Not only you need to, so whenever, this is my process, whenever I have a client that goes either under contract on a house or I'm getting ready to have a new listing, is I go to the county website and I look to see if what permits have been pulled, if there's any open permits. And I have seen houses where they have pulled permits for HVAC replacement. And this guy, so we just had someone say the HVAC company should be, but they don't always do. So this is, here again, accountability, right? This is your property.
Right.
You need to make sure as a homeowner, right, that you are asking these questions to anything that is being done to your property. Otherwise, it could cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
And
if the house is
getting sued. People are getting sued over this. Like, and this will absolutely stand up in court.
Right. One thing too, like some of the stuff that's done maybe 2 to 3 or 4 years ago that they never pulled the permit for, that should have been pulled the permit for, and then they changed codes and the new codes come out, and so you could be screwed in essence if you don't do it the right way the first time.
Yeah, and it is up to any agent who is listing a property in the state of North Carolina has a duty to discover and disclose anything like this. So if your real estate agent isn't pulling properties up and checking for permits or asking about work being done, you need to maybe reach out for help. Phone a friend.
Wow.
It also says replacing a water heater of another type, backflow device on landscape irrigation systems, kitchen cabinet replacement that changes the configuration or exceeds $15,000.
So there's that dollar amount number that came into play again. Okay.
Yeah, but so keep in mind, it says, so say you add an island when there wasn't an island. You have to get a permit even though that island may cost 10 grand. Does that make sense?
Because you're reconfiguring. Yeah, because you're reconfiguring the kitchen that was once there. Wow.
It says when the conditions require a permit for re-roofing projects and mechanical vents associated with the gas appliances are penetrating the roof, then a mechanical permit is required as well. I don't know.
Can you read that one more time?
When the conditions require a permit for re-roofing projects and mechanical vents associated with gas appliances are penetrating the roof, so like there's okay,
got it. It's like the vents going to the roof. Okay.
Yeah. Then a mechanical permit is required as well. So you have to get a permit, and for that, and then you have to also get a mechanical permit.
Interesting. So there's a building permit, and there's a permit, a building permit, and mechanical permit. So since we've started talking, this is like awesome. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. So right now we know of just a regular base permit. Then there is a building permit. Then there is a mechanical permit.
Yes.
What does the mechanical permit cover? I'm curious to know what that would. Let me Google that real quick.
It says, so then here is the blurb about. You found out what a mechanical permit is?
I found it. Yeah, it's required prior to conducting mechanical work such as heating, ductwork, or cooling. So a mechanical is basically for HVAC.
So it sounds like you have to pull that, like.
Yeah, such as ductwork or cooling. For example, a restaurant will usually need to install a grease exhaust hood in the kitchen area to remove excess heat from the stove. So I guess anything that helps remove heat or whatever venting of sorts needs to be permitted. Wow.
Yeah. And then, okay. So it says, because more lenders are requesting permits. So you tell me about this, Angelo. So it says, because more lenders are requesting permits, more work that was previously done without a permit is being discovered. When that happens, owners could be required to expose framing, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems so the required inspections can be performed and pay retroactive permitting fees. This can be costly and disruptive to homeowners.
Very. Yeah.
Have you seen loans or, where banks are requiring permits for
basically, yeah. So I've had a bunch of cases in the past where you go to it's on the appraisal. The appraisal is usually the one that finds out about it, or if they see it, because they go and they pull the tax records, right? And so they measure the square footage. And so if the layout of that house is different, if it was, let's say, originally built as a 1,600 square foot home, and that's what's listed in the tax records, but he measures 2,300 square feet in an additional room or two, he's going to notate that on the report and say, this was mostly, and then he'll go and try to find the permits. And if he doesn't find the permits for that, he'll list it as an unpermitted addition, and then out the window.
Rejected.
He's not getting financed. We're done. We're done here.
See, Angela, I just feel like, so from what you've seen, the only thing that will catch whether something was permitted or not is when the appraiser comes in and is checking his stuff.
To measure. Yeah, and he measures the property and looks at the tax records and all that. Yep.
Wow.
Because it's considered, and the reason why it's an unpermitted addition and people don't want to, the lenders don't want to lend on it, is because it could become a liability. You know what I'm saying? To the lender, because they lent the money for a home that things may or may not be up to code on. And they could, in essence, people could go after them. So that is why.
The same thing with insurance. Like, that's what, that triggers why, like, if you have a fire because you did some electrical work by yourself, then, and the insurance company finds out, guess what?
Right.
And if you think that they're not going to research a fire to a home, you're mistaken, because they are going to find out what is the cause, right? Because they're on the hook for the replacement value of that home, or whatever your homeowner's insurance says. A lot of times it's for that because of lending.
Right.
I mean, I feel very nervous because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like thinking about what I've done in my own house.
Right. Or, maybe some previous, yeah, that's crazy. I would probably, yeah, I mean, going forward, just kind of once again, I guess, kind of screening your vendors with this information. Like, hey, all right, do you need to pull a permit? Do you guys already have something in place with the county because you do this all the time? Whatever. I mean, they may have something in place for that, and we just kind of don't know it because it's what they do. But it'd be good to ask. 100%.
I feel like, Face with F2, I feel like it would be good to ask him kind of like their process for these things. Just to have an understanding, and maybe we could share that in the next couple weeks. But I think if you are doing anything to your house, you don't even you can ask the vendor doing the work, but I think you should also do the research yourself because what I just read was for Mecklenburg County. So that is for the county that Charlotte is in. And each city and county is going to have different regulations. So this goes with Charlotte. I would check Mecklenburg County, and then I would also go in and I would check the city of Charlotte requirements if I was going to do anything to my property. And then I would ask, I would want to see where they pulled the permit, some kind of I don't know, just make sure that you're doing your homework, because someone can tell you all day long that they're going to do something, but I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a slippery slope. Let's see. So it says what information is required when you're trying to get a permit. Applications for building permit will include the following information about the proposed work: a general overall proposed project description, location of the project, signature of the owner or licensed agent, estimated cost, including labor, materials, donations, site work, the contractor and design professional fees, but not the cost of the land. I think that's because it's being done to a structure, that's interesting. They just said that at the end, but not the cost of the land. Okay. Okay, thank you.
When we're done today, send me that link where you're getting this stuff on, because I'll probably say that as a favorite, 100%.
And I think I'll try to figure out how to include that in our show notes when I post today. But a lot of time, you know what I did? I just Googled what did I Google? Something permitting requirements for Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. That's what I Googled. And then it brought me to the Mecklenburg County website, and then the code enforcement. So
nice.
I mean, that's a pretty basic question, right? It's not like I spent hours doing a bunch of research on this.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Google
I
did the
would
research
for everybody here to be impressed like I did. But it's really easy. That's the point. It's really easy for you to Google these things on your own, and just make sure that wherever you're getting your information, I always look at the web address. So this is from a mecnc.gov code enforcement site. So the .gov,
it's legit, pretty much, correct. Or it should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, I guess there could be something crazy, but for the most part, that's a good way to check yourself.
Right, for sure.
You wreck yourself.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Wow. Right. Good
that's
job.
that.
This was some good. This was some good stuff today.
And I mean, it's like you
Knowledge,
said,
knowledge, dropping the knowledge.
you like we could probably go into like a several different like facets of this, but I'm
Right.
like,
This is
first of
just
all,
right. It's just a surface. Right.
yeah, like I am not a permitting expert, but
Right.
I know how to Google and I try to just like I don't know. I try to learn. I think that we all just have to take ownership, right? Um, and I think if you have questions, call your local municipality. A lot of times they can help you, but I always suggest getting everything in writing. So hopefully you can find like a web address where you can email somebody. So at least you have it in writing if anything were to ever happen.
Yeah.
That's like the lawyer in me, the wannabe lawyer in me talking. So, um, so that's what I got.
Nice. Yeah, that's a lot of info to digest right there for sure. Yeah, and do not forget to put that in the link in the Tuesday talks in your post, and we'll put it on our YouTube channel. So everybody, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, Leverage Lending Group and at Ange and Ash Tuesday Talks. Like, follow, share us, and ask us questions. And thank you for WS Inspect. I'm not sure if you're still watching, but she asked a question. She actually asked a question on one of my stories that we obviously did not get to it, but next time we'll try to get to it. I needed some clarification from her too, so I had to respond to her. But yeah, please, anybody, if you like what you see, like, follow, share,
Hit us
and
up.
yeah, that's what's up.
Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. And if you have any questions about the permitting process, drop them below. We will try to get you connected with the right people to answer those questions. And we will see y'all next week.
Next week,
for
same
another
bat time,
edition.
same bat channel.
That's right. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.